This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
At what point did Mr. Giuliani begin working directly with Russian agents and Russian assets, individuals who would later become sanctioned by Donald Trump's own Treasury Department for spreading propaganda and disinformation against Joe Biden?
It was sometime in probably around May, June of 2019.
Were you aware, was Mr. Giuliani aware that these people were basically just doing the bidding of Vladimir Putin?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
So he had no hesitation about spreading lies that were concocted by Russian agents?
As long as it fit the narrative, absolutely not.
How were you and Giuliani able to take these false allegations peddled by corrupt officials and Russian agents and promote and amplify them here in the United States, in our political system? Weren't media groups skeptical of your claims?
Most media groups, I'd probably say all except for Fox and a few other right-wing media groups, didn't want to take any of the information, and that aggravated Rudy Giuliani and John Solomon and other players. And the main group that was being pushed through was Fox, Sean Hannity and some other media personnel over there.
Oh, God.
But then there was also other people that were doing the bidding for the Russian people in Congress, like Senator Ron Johnson, like Congressman Pete Sessions that sits here right now.
Oh, my God.
With me from the very beginning of this journey into finding up digging dirt on Joe Biden.
Oh, my God. Oh my! It's like the scene in Goodfellas where, you know, he says, and is Mr. Paul sitting right here? Yeah, that's him right there. I mean, it's unbelievable. He's literally naming current members of the Senate and current members who are sitting in front of him on the House Oversight Committee as being people who knew that Russian intelligence was feeding information to Rudy Giuliani. They were disseminating it because it fit a narrative Donald Trump wanted told. And Fox News, guys like Sean Hannity and obviously Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, they were spreading what everybody knew was Russian dis and misinformation about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. So you know what this failed impeachment inquiry has actually produced, don't you? This failed impeachment inquiry produced what should be the third Trump impeachment. It produced evidence that Donald Trump was colluding with Russian intelligence during the 1920 presidential campaign that he lost. Not just 15-16, where Mueller had to indict the whole troll farm. And, you know, now Prigozhin, the guy who was running that St. Petersburg troll farm that was, seeding Facebook feeds and people's news feeds on Facebook based on the polling information they got from Paul Manafort in payment to Oleg Deripaska, another Russian oligarch who Manafort owed millions of dollars to. You can see what happens when somebody is desperate for money, can't you? So when that all happened in 2015-16, Bill Barr ran interference and said, okay, nothing to see here, move along, move along. Then it happened again in 1920, and Bill Barr played that game again. The only thing Bill Barr didn't count on was that Donald Trump was going to insist that he swear, as the Attorney General of the United States of America, that the election was stolen. And Bill Barr wouldn't do that. That was apparently his, cutoff point. That's where he said, okay, I'm out. You need a wartime consigliere. You're out, Tom. You know what I'm saying? But everything else was doable. Everything else. And, it's so interesting because a couple days ago on Joy Reid's show, and this is why it's so hard for me to understand or forgive the lack of reporting on what was testified to yesterday, even if it's stuff that needs to be debunked. Let's say Parnas committed perjury yesterday all day. I don't know. Let's just say he did. Then it needs to be debunked, doesn't it? But that they just let it lie. That testimony, they just let it sit there. See, this is when people call me up and they go, how come the Democrats don't play the way the Republicans do? We don't need to. When the story is handed to us, the truth of it is handed to us on a silver plate, then they just walk away and they ignore it. And I can't explain it because, like I said, Joy Reid was talking to Will Bunch the other day about Oleg Deripaska and about Russian intelligence agents feeding information to the FBI and posing as FBI officer. And they were really nothing but Russian intelligence, and now they're in jail. I mean, so it's known that happened.
Talk to me about what we should be focusing on when it comes to Oleg Deripaska, this Russian oligarch who seems to have ties to everyone from Mitch McConnell to Trump, and this apparent, I guess we'd call him a spy?
Yeah, I mean, Deripaska is kind of the Zelig of this whole Trump-Russia scandal. He appears in the background everywhere, sometimes in the foreground. But I think really critical is this long-standing relationship that Deripaska had with Paul Manafort, who mysteriously became Trump's campaign manager
and it's going to be
2016.
again.
And we now know that Manafort was sharing important data from the Trump campaign, polling data and data that could have helped Russia's internet trolls know what states to target with their internet trolling. He shared that with a suspected Russian intelligence agent who was also part of this triangle with Manafort and Deripaska. And then how does this FBI agent who is supposed to be investigating Deripaska then end up working for him a year or two later, if that's indeed when it started? I'd love to see the Times, given its role in disseminating the bad information, go back. I mean, I think they should apologize for their bad coverage, but I think they should also investigate how they were duped by these FBI agents and by their intelligence sources, and share that with their readers and share that with the public, because clearly there's a lot about this we don't know. And like you said, Trump's running for president again. McConnell's trying to be Senate Majority Leader again.
No.
A lot of this ties into Ukraine, which is about the most important thing going in the world right now. And I think the public deserves answers that we don't have right now.
And let me show you the ultimate proof that this story is real, okay? And that this story implicates Fox News hosts, John Solomon, the writer at The Hill, right-wing lunatic fringy people, Rudy Giuliani, who was, feeding the Fox News viewers, the Newsmax viewers, all of this, Russian intelligence disinformation and misinformation about Hunter Biden's laptop and about Joe Biden and about Burisma and about Victor Shokin, who was fired because he was not investigating Burisma. Not investigating Burisma. I mean, the gaslighting, the turning everything that we know that it's demonstrably true on its head. Let me show you the ultimate piece of proof that this story implicates all the wrong people, like Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, John Solomon, Rudy Giuliani, and Donald Trump. Okay? Here's your proof.
Is impeachment the next step? Are you going to hold a vote on the House floor? I know it's up to Mike Johnson, but the margins, Congressman, you lost Kevin McCarthy. Ken Buck left last week. George Santos was ousted. Unless you get Democratic votes, this is going to be real tough. So it kind of seems like you're chasing your tail at this point because this is not going to go anywhere.
That was Newsmax. This is Fox.
End of this week, Congress is due to go into recess for another 2 weeks. And I do think that in some ways it just feels like they keep doing the same hearing over and over again. And people are starting to wonder, at some point, do you fish or cut bait and do something about a vote or not and move on to the general election?
This is witness testimony. So a lot of this evidence is situational. It's circumstantial. What does the Oversight Committee need right now to complete its investigation, to fill in these holes?
But where is the evidence of wrongdoing on the president's part, and how long can you continue this investigation without that evidence?
I think, John, though, why we're still here, because I do think that people are maybe becoming a little bit tired of all of this.
That's how you know. Newsmax and Fox and all the right-wing media pundits, they're like, it's just, we don't want to hear anymore. You keep having the same hearing over and over again, except yesterday you had a witness who was with Rudy Giuliani at all these inflection points, at all these totally demonstrably true points of Rudy being in Ukraine, of Rudy talking to Dmitry Firtash, of Rudy and Paul Manafort doing favors for Oleg Deripaska and promoting Russian intelligence office. You remember Maria Butina? Remember her? So she was a Russian intelligence operative who weaseled her way into the NRA. Remember how embarrassing that was? That was the tip of the iceberg, okay? Now, the rest of the story about Russian intelligence and who they were talking to, Rudy Giuliani, and who they were, relying on to disseminate Ron Johnson, Devin Nunes, Pete Sessions, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson. It's all out there now. And all of a sudden, Fox says, "Okay, we're out. We've had enough. We've had enough." Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.